So, you, my girl. We talk all the time. And so I kind of have an idea of where your mind is and the space that you're in because we talk all the time. But I think our listeners will be interested in knowing mentally, emotionally, where we are now since putting out content. So we started this, for some of you who don't know, we started this podcast process March 2019. We did not put content out until May 2020. Although we had recordings, we just never posted anything until May 2020. So from May 2020, we've completed season 1. Of course, this is going into season 2. We're super excited about it and what is to come. The content is not, clear, but the creativity is very present in regards to what we want to bring to people. Because we want our listeners to be engaged. Like, we want you all to be a part of what I consider epic conversations that we have with one another. We want you all to be a part of it too. So in that time frame from May until now, I'm curious as to how you feel. Like, what has your feeling been since recordings have posted? Have you gotten any great feedback?
I've enjoyed developing this content and putting it out. It's something that we wanted to do. Like you mentioned, we thought about it, we conceived of the idea, and we started working on it over a year ago, and then got to the point where we were putting things out. That in itself was a successful experience for me because it allowed us the time to process what we were deciding to do, to overcome some of the fears that we may have had about doing it, and just going ahead and tearing the walls down. Just go ahead and put it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we did it, and I'm glad that we're doing it.
Yes.
As you mentioned, I would like to have more interactivity with our listeners. This is from her point of view, and you and I are not the only hers. Clearly, we are not the only hers in this world. So we want to hear from all of you. So this season, we're going to make the effort to include you further in the conversation.
We welcome that.
We want you to be a part of the conversation. So in the episodes, we're going to pose questions to you that we want to hear your answers to. And last season, if you haven't listened to last season, go back to last season and listen to it. Toward the end of last season, we presented the one question, one truth conversation. And that was a really good conversation. It brought a lot of topics up to discuss. It brought a lot of different viewpoints out. We're going to do that again this season.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a part of that, we are going to send out the invitation. We want you to be a part of that because we want to hear what you have to say, and we want to put out the content that you want to listen to.
Indeed. That's what we're looking for. So I think that it's good that we have these conversations, but when you think about it, when we talked about it before, we started this because we wanted to make a platform for women to talk candidly to one another about anything, and having that openness amongst women to get advice, to vent, to, I don't know, just have a conversation. Some people don't have girlfriends. So it's nice to be able to talk to like kind. We can learn a lot from each other through our experiences and things like that. So we are definitely looking to connect with people that would be interested in just sharing their experiences, their stories, providing advice. It could be anonymous. We don't necessarily have to reveal who you are. So if you're afraid that your job may listen to this and they won't accept it, what you may say or do, we don't have to tell them who you are. But we would still love to have you be a part of this process and the content that we put out. So one of the things that I can say for myself that I've learned through this process since putting out season 1 is that we can't be afraid of anything. Fear is the primary killer of dreams and successes. When you think about all the things that we don't accomplish in life, the main factor that keeps us from attaining those things is fear. So don't be afraid. I've learned that with putting out this content that you don't gotta like it. We don't care. Don't listen. Somebody's gonna listen. But we had to put our fear to the side and ultimately do what it was that we felt we needed to do. And so that is where From Her Point of View comes from. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Any other thoughts that you have from the process?
Actually, there's 3 altogether. So okay. One would be dismissing fear. Mm-hmm. 2 would be total transparency. I mean, we're going to say some things that we probably shouldn't. Or we may feel embarrassed about later on. Because I'll tell you, in season 1, I could have edited out a few things. But that's full transparency. That is the space that we were in at that time, and you got our authentic selves. So transparency, being honest, and always having a goal in mind. What can we do better? Because that's going to produce evolution. We want to evolve better than we were before. Mm-hmm. And I know that we can do that on our own, but we want to do that with our listeners. We want them to be a part of the process just as much as we're a part of the process. I think that's the fun of this. So
that's really what we're looking forward to in season 2, is just bringing more of the content in from the listeners, integrating it into what we're talking about and making sure that their perspectives are being heard and that they're able to say what they have to say, get it off your chest. And I can guarantee you that there's somebody out there that has had the same experience as you, or is glad to hear that there's somebody out there that's gone through what they're going through and is looking for a way to get through something that they're going through. So even though you may not think that it's important or it means a lot to a person, you have no idea. When people mm-hmm. listen to other people, when women listen to other women,
great things happen.
Especially
when it's good stuff that's being told. Someone said sometimes you got to step out there and be the example. Even when you're afraid, people are looking to you to do something different, to say something different, because they need the example to say, well, if she did it, I can do it. Or if that's the kind of advice that she would give because she got through it, I can get through it. Let me try to do what she did, or whatever the case may be.
So each of the 3 topics or the 3 things that you pointed out are good for 3 separate episodes right there. Mm-hmm. Fear is a big one because, like you said, that is the reason why we do or do not do a lot of certain things. Mm-hmm. Because of fear, being unsure of the outcome, being scared of the things that might happen during the process. Fear is a big one, and overcoming fear and listening to ways that other people have overcome their fears can be really beneficial. So I think that would be a good topic to discuss and to get input from others on.
And then there's transparency and just being honest with yourself. I feel like, there's a term where it says like, don't call the kettle, you can't call the kettle black, or Don't throw rocks when you live in glass houses. Like when you're honest with who you are, nobody can check you, is how I feel. Nobody can demean you when you are honest with who you are. Nobody can tell you anything differently. So in full transparency and being honest, that not only benefits you, but it can benefit somebody else. So yeah, that could be a topic all in itself.
Mm-hmm. And the third?
That was it. Transparency, being setting goals.
Setting goals. Setting goals. And that's part of where we started with this. If you remember last year, earlier this year, 2020 has been a doozy. Earlier this year, when we had our vision board party, and everybody got together and I talked to the group about setting goals, about the SMART method of setting goals. And none of us thought that 2020 was going to go the way that it has. But you still have to create that vision. And there were goals that we worked toward that we may not have necessarily thought we would have the time to work toward, just because of the way 2020 has panned out, you know? So there were things that I was able to accomplish this year that I wasn't necessarily planning for. So that was a success.
But we continue to truck on. We continue to make decisions to be better each and every day. And that's the goal. So yeah, 2020 was definitely not anything that we ever thought it would be. And you're right, that vision board party, although it was fun, I think one person may have finished their board because coronavirus hit and it was like everything got flipped upside down. So whatever thoughts you had about what you were going to do, you just kind of dismissed that. And it's important to, even if you fell off track, to find your way back to the things that you committed to the things that you said you were going to do. Maybe the timing is different, but you still accomplish those goals.
So moving into season 2, just to recap what we just discussed, the main focus is to foster engagement. We want to bring the listeners in. We want to have a deeper conversation with our listeners, get their point of view shared, and not just shared, but discussed, and get responses from other people about them. So that's one of the main focuses for season 2, I would like to say, is that we are going to encourage more engagement.
Definitely.
And part of that engagement is through our Facebook and our Instagram page. So please follow us on Facebook at From Her Point of View. Please follow us on Instagram at From_Her Point of View. Every Monday and every Thursday, I have been posting Motivation Mondays and Think About It Thursdays. They are usually quotes that I've found throughout the week that have hit home with me and that I feel will be beneficial to other people. When you see them, comment on them. Say what you think about them. If you see something throughout your week that you think that is important to share, send it to me or share it with our listeners. Like I said, the goal is engagement. So that's the plan.
Yes, that is the plan. So we're here as long as you all are here.